Hopefully we stay on and everything is good. For those of you who got a false notification a little while ago, about an hour ago, that was me trying to play with some things that I don't understand, because YouTube changed how I go live with this software and made it much more complicated for me, and I don't appreciate it. But what can I do? We are not in the ownership class, so I have to just, and let me just say, we're going to talk a lot today about staying in your lane and protecting your lane and allowing everyone else their lane. So one of the things we have to understand today is that technology is not my lane. It's a one-woman operation over here, and this is not my lane. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there are hiccups or anything, I apologize ahead of time. Charge it, to my head and not my heart. So let's continue, fam. Listen, got the next book club book. Are you excited? Some of you probably already know what it is. So I'm not even gonna tarry, as the old people say. This is, I think we always do the book club on the last Thursday. So I think in November, is there a weather problem? Why am I getting weather notifications? Oh, I think that is the 26th of November. The 26th of November is the next, we're not going to do it in this month. That's too close. So that will be the next book club meeting that we will have. Hold on one second. So we will, the half has never been told. A lot of people have been talking about the book, and we have why does this thing not keep up? Well, we have been talking a lot about, people have called in and talked about the book. And everybody has called in and said, Yvette, you should absolutely have this book as the book club book. And you've been talking about it for a long time. You brought it up before, and you should have this as the book club book. Whether half has never been told will be the book club book. So that's right around Thanksgiving. It is. Now, if that coincides, well, the Thursday, that's like, shouldn't that be the day after Thanksgiving? I would love it to be like the day after, because people will be off work and things like that. Isn't Thanksgiving on like the 25th or something like that? Y'all check for me. If we need to move it around, we will. But I like to do book clubs right around the holidays, because a lot of people have a little bit more time off. And a lot of people have a little bit more time that they can read. And, you know, if you got one of these good jobs, it's Thanksgiving Day. Well, you can be here Thanksgiving night. But we might change it to the next day. But I don't like doing stuff on Friday. Friday bothers me because people don't like to be around on Friday. So I'll see if we're going to do it on Thanksgiving or we're going to do it the day after. Y'all can read. If y'all can promise me you'll be here, if y'all can promise me you'll show up on a Friday, we could do it on that Friday. Unless, what is that next after the, oh, come on. What is taking this thing so long? No, we go into November. What is the I don't want to do it on Monday. Do y'all want to move into December? Like maybe December the 3rd? Do a little vote in the chat. Do y'all want to do it on like December the 3rd? Let me know. Do a little hands up. Just if you want to do it on December the 3rd, or you want to do it that weekend of Thanksgiving. But I don't trust weekends. Negroes get gone on weekends. But let me know in the chat which one you want to do. And December the 3rd says Anthony, ADOS Baltimore. Friday is cool. Somebody says Thursday is fine. I will make a decision. But family, let's get on to it. I will keep you posted because we got a long ways to go. Listen, fam. And some people don't see, the thing is, you can't, I don't know if you can do the book club on Thanksgiving. Before I said okay, but then you eat the turkey and the turkey got the thing in it to put you to sleep. I don't know about that either. So listen, fam, let me just, I thought Thanksgiving was the 25th, but let's get into it, fam. Ain't no time to tarry. There's been a lot going on with our family. There's been a lot going on. It's a lot of fighting. There's a lot of different things going on. And I want to talk about all of it in the context of how we need to talk about it. We want to talk about building. I like to frame and talk about the framing of it all. So that's how we're going to have this conversation. So let's get to it. Hit that like button for me. Hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already. Hit that bell. If you want to donate, go to donatebrown.com, patreon.com/ycarnell. But please hit that thumbs up for me button. If you are in here, hit that thumbs up for me. I would appreciate it. 2 haters already hit the thumbs down. I don't even use the word haters, but goodness, you early with your hate. So please hit that. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe for me. That is important. Please do that. So what I want to kind of talk about and take it into the context of some other things is kind of, you know, we brought this up the other week and talked about how we got here. But we really didn't give the full story of how we got here. And to understand what has to happen in terms of where ADOS has to go and how we have to build and how we have to lead, one of the things that you have to understand and that we have to understand is how we got here. We talk a lot about economics and we talk about a lot about economists when we talk about how we got here. So when we talk about that origin story, and the origin story is important when we talk about how to have a cohesive movement, right? When we talk about that origin story, one of the things that we have to absolutely talk about, without hesitation and equivocation, is this story began with Piketty, with Thomas Piketty, right? Now I don't agree with his stance on immigration and some other things, but this began with him. For those of you who go all the way back, you will remember that before we even had the book club, Antonio and I talked about capital in the 21st century, because there were certain things that were made clear inside of that book. Here is a couple of them, because we got to go back to go forward. Sometimes you got to revisit your past to know where your future is. So here we are. Thomas Piketty. Wealth is so concentrated that a large segment of society is virtually unaware of its existence. Right? It's important to realize that innovation and growth in and of itself are not sufficient to moderate inequality of wealth. So when we started looking at that, we realized what that meant. Around that time, everybody was asking us for a solution. Yvette, what is the solution? You all are, you had boys coming at us saying, you all are negative Nancy's. They're just being negative. They don't have solutions. Everybody, all the people, LLC Twitter was everywhere. Y'all just don't have solutions. You got to start a business. So we had to look at the data, and we came to the same conclusion that Piketty came to, which is that everybody's going to have to get serious about reparations. There is no in between. There is no other way to go. Confronting racism, repairing history, whatever its complexity, the issue of reparations for past history involving slavery and colonialism cannot be eluded forever, either in the United States or Europe. We reached the same conclusion as Piketty, right? After that, what we did, we said we have to find somebody who, as Antonio and Yvette, we have to find somebody who says ADOS. This is owed only to ADOS and nobody else. So then we brought Darity in here, and that's how that happened, right? There are pieces that were brought in. To make this puzzle work. That's all part of the cohesiveness. Because let me tell you, there's something going on right now in society. There are wild narratives. I don't know any way else to say it, but there are a lot of wild narratives in America, right? Somebody sent me said Columbus Day, and they were talking about how, Trump was rewriting history. People will rewrite the history of everything, including your movement. Okay? People will rewrite the history of everything. People will tell you things that are not true. That's part of the reason we're seeing the stuff we saw today. We saw today Facebook to ban content that denies or distorts the Holocaust. Bravo! But how about, that's important. Because part of what has to happen in order for people to move forward and for us to get reparations and not be discriminated against is, what did I just say? The story. We just talked about the origin story. Now let's move forward. We're talking about how to protect the story that you already have. We have a story that is the beginning of our story. How do you protect that story? Well, there have to be protections in place. We need our own protections in place. Don't say that we were happy as slaves, or that we're immigrants when we came here as slaves, or don't say that we was, everybody. Listen, that the Irish were slaves. We need our own protections. But understand something, family. You have to protect the inside and outside of the house. Most movements fall from the inside. This is the outside. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the outside, but this is the outside. This is how, these are the things in terms of allowing certain groups to do certain things, and not us, how they get protected and we don't. We have to push for the same thing. That's the outside. This is the outside as well. Misinformation campaigns are part of the outside. So everybody was a slave and you see a lot of that in terms of Trump and Trump world. Well, somebody said in this article they believe Ginsburg been dead. And nobody told us. It was a whole conspiracy. You have to guard against misinformation. That's part of it. So let me just bring this up to give you an idea of part of the problem of, like, America is a place that's filled with information. And once you understand that, you'll understand how and why we have to protect. And I'm going to tell you what we're doing to protect what we have. We're going to get to that in a minute. But for every two people who offered a rational and informed reason for why they were supporting Biden or Trump, there was another Always a Trump supporter who offered an explanation divorced from reality. You could call this persistent style of untethered reasoning, unlogic. They done made up a new word. Bravo. Unlogic is not ignorance or stupidity. Well, sometimes. But it is reason distorted by suspicion and misinformation, an Orwellian state of mind that arranges itself around convenient fictions rather than established facts. That happened to us. That is what has happened to us. We know what it was. We was bots and we was everything else. That's why protecting this narrative inside and outside is so important. Outside, we will call bots. We will call, nobody found no evidence, but evidence don't matter in this America. We will call bots. We will call MAGA. Oh my God, I saw Yvette in a hat. Yeah, but we were playing and having fun, but still. We have to be able to protect who we are and what we stand for outside and inside. I keep saying that for a reason, because you have to understand what I say. Most movements fall from the inside. You got a spy. You got somebody who gets close to one of the leaders. You got all of that. And that becomes a problem. That becomes a problem. That narrative, or the inability to have a cohesive narrative, becomes a problem. And that's especially a problem when you are on the precipice of something huge. Well, what do you mean, Yvette? Well, listen. Go back to Piketty for 1 second and what he showed about income inequality in America. You can see the same thing in a lot of different places. And we have the data to back it up. We're at a very special place in history. White families have more wealth than Black, Hispanic, and other or multiple race families. What that means, family, is that now is the time to protect everything, because we are at a very specific place where we can do a lot of good. That's where we are. Media net worth. Mean net worth, right? Wealth rises with for all families, but the wealth gap between white and non-white families persists. We got everything. We got all the data. We got everything we need, right? But none of what we have, family, and none of what we need matters if we don't stay cohesive and on the same page in terms of who we are and where we are. Well, what do you mean, Yvette? Well, we can talk about the outside first, right? So let me see if I can find the little outside problems that we tend to have. See, and I'm not going to bring the whole thing up, but we had, I think I didn't bring it up. That's awful. But I don't know if you all remember, what was it? It was a few weeks ago. Let me see if I can bring it up. But there was an article. I think Antonio shared it. Already. But there was an article which was very interesting. And the article showed, in its interestingness, right, that, let me see if I can find it. The article showed something very interesting. The article showed that when you talked about George Floyd, right, we already talked about how he was locked out because of who he was, right? The article showed that the person who shot him, who called the police, and the police did what they did, foot on neck, 8 minutes, dead. The person who called the police was a West African. Now, this isn't any way to kind of demonize West Africans. What I'm saying is this, though. We are not the same. There is no flat blackness. That's what we're trying to say. And I don't think people really kind of, I just want to have an honest conversation today in terms of who we are and what we stand for. I don't think that people really understand that we're not the same. Because here's the thing. If you call the police as a West African, when he talked, he said, well, I didn't really understand necessarily like what was going on. I don't understand the relation of ADOS to the police. I don't understand, if you look at the 911 call, who he really was versus who we are. I don't understand necessarily the difference. I don't understand the wealth level that everybody's talking about that is getting attention now. I don't understand. There's a lot of not understanding. So you have to understand, and we talked about this, that we are not the same. You have to understand what Jamie Dimon said about what COVID has highlighted. And when you understand that we're at a very specific and special moment. That's what you understand when you understand it. Let me read a little bit from that, and we're going to get to it. COVID and the murder of George Floyd kind of shined the spotlight on something that we already knew, Diamond said during an interview at the CIBOS conference. We've had racial inequality in this country since way before the Civil War, and we haven't done a particularly good job of fixing it. Poor people tend to suffer in any crisis more than everybody else. More than the rich people, Diamond said. That was true for Superstorm Sandy. It's true for recessions. It's true for COVID. COVID just highlights many flaws in how we run our country, the mistakes we make in running our country, and how it hurts the people. Now, he ain't wrong. Understand that. He's not wrong. So, what you have to, hold on one second for me, because I'm going to try to bring that up. But what you have to understand when you read something like this is that we are at the moment. And we have not only at the moment, we have created the moment for this to happen, for this kind of transformation to happen, right? We have created this moment. But you can also uncreate a moment. Just read that for 1 second. You can also uncreate the moment with internal divisiveness, carve outs, and that sort of thing. We're going to have a conversation about it because you have to. We're going to have a conversation about it because we have to, and we're going to have a conversation about what is going to be done about it. Okay? Because things got to happen. You know, Miss Sophia home, and you know what it is. What is this on my phone? It's got to happen. There are things that have to happen in this moment, or you just lose the moment. If those things don't happen in this moment, you lose the moment. Ah, there it is. And I don't think people understand that. Ooh, that's interesting. That is interesting. I don't think people understand how easy it is to lose this moment. And we, you know, I got some good information I didn't send myself, but that's all right. Listen, fam. Let's kind of bring it home. Let me bring it here. Hold on a second. Because we're going to have a conversation about it, and I'm going to leave everybody time to have that part. Yvette didn't give, she came in there and she talked a whole bunch of trash, but she didn't give me time to say what I had to say, and I had something to say. I was going to, you know, I was going to let her have it. Well, you will have your opportunity. Don't worry. What is the other thing? Don't matter. I'll bring it up later. So let's talk about what's going to happen. Because I saw this. Let me see if I can bring this up. Let's talk about a lot of things that have been said. Because I don't like to leave elephants in the room. I don't like to leave things unaddressed. Because when you leave things unaddressed, people think you scared. And I ain't scared of you or nobody else. So let's talk about it. We just got to get to it. Because you see the wealth level, you see what it is, and you see what we've called for, and then you have all this conversation behind the scenes. Shout out to Reggie, who said, you know, when somebody was saying we shouldn't do Project Takeover. Well, you won't say to my face you don't believe it, but you will say it to somebody else. So let's talk about it. And Reggie said the right thing. Thing is, we do believe in the capacity of our own group. Because somebody said, oh, well, you're doing Project Takeover. You don't believe in ADOS. Oh, people, a lot of talking. Thing is, we do believe in the capacity of our own group. And many members of our group are in the institutions such as NAACP, Urban League, Church, for us, to us, by, that sort of thing, and there to activate them. There are armies of black people we can commandeer in Project Takeover. See, there are a lot of arms to this, and let's talk about it, because we talked briefly about what has to happen outside in terms of protecting the narrative, in terms of we're not BIPOC, right? That's not who we are. We're not people of color. That's not who we are. We are ADOS. So we have protected that language specifically because of who we are and who we are not. There's another problem, though, in terms of the undermining of things that we have already called for. Let me tell you why Project Takeover is important. And people will talk and you won't have $5. Well, let's talk about it. The reason Project Takeover is important because none of y'all and none of me and none of us and nobody here is going to start a whole bunch of new institutions. Now, here we go. ADOS is and soon will be a C4. Talked to our attorney last week. That is happening because we need structure, because too much is running amok. We did a poll and it was split. So we have to make executive decisions. We are a C4. That's the direction in which we're going. We have to do that because people will come in and say, oh, no, we don't need to do that. Listen, you cannot rebuild every wheel. You cannot do it, and you should not do it. It is stupid to do it. It is stupid to rebuild everything. We can have our own thing, and we can move our own thing towards the finish line, and we should. But listen, we got whole institutions that are built there for us, and they're waiting for us to take them over. We're already seeing the benefits of that from other people. You can do ADOS and still have an influence. You can do ADOS and still be represented in these other spaces. We have to have influence across the board. We're not going to just be one group and be in one group. We have to have influence everywhere that we go. We have to run stuff everywhere that we go. And to the chapter leaders who reached out to me, I'm thinking Sunday for the meeting. If you think it's a different day, let me know. If you have a problem with that day, I know a lot of stuff is going on. Let me know. This coming up Sunday. If that's a problem, let me know beforehand. But yes, so we're going to have twice monthly chapter meetings as we organize what we're doing here. Because there's too much going on. I don't need anybody going behind, well, why you want to do that? If the NAACP has a bunch of money and a bunch of people on the ground who are older people and don't necessarily have any vision, why shouldn't we be in there? Why shouldn't we be everywhere? Listen, we got to talk about mobilization when you talk about what we have to do. We have to be everywhere. We have to be in our churches, in our mosques. We have to have youth outreach. So when we get the formalization, right? That should be here in like a day or so. When we get that, we have to talk about bylaws. We have to talk about mobilization because we have to mobilize. And that is what's coming while Biden is in office, right? Because I think it looks like he might get elected. I don't know for sure. We don't know what's going to happen on election day and what they're going to do with the ballots. We have to talk about the opportunity that Biden affords us. Well, what you mean, Yvette? The opportunity that Biden? We're talking about narratives here, and we're talking about protecting the mission inside and out. And we already talked about the outside. We have done a very good job of protecting the mission outside. ADOS, that's who we are. Period. Point blank and period. We are not people of color. We are not BIPOC. We are ADOS. Everybody tries to bully us. No, you don't get to bully us. You don't get to talk to us the way you don't talk to other people. We get to determine who we are, and we have made a decision. And we get the right to make that decision because what? You can just go right back to it. We get the right to make that because this is our chart. We get the right to make that decision because this is also our chart. Right? This is why we get the right to make that decision. That's the external. That's the external part of protecting the narrative. That is the external part of protecting who we are. But if you don't watch it, if you're not careful, you will get undermined from within. Right? If you are not careful, flat blackness is undermined from without. Saying that y'all ain't gonna get nothing unless y'all give us something is undermined from without. That's undermined outside. But if you're not careful, you are not vigilant, you will be undermined from inside by people who just whisper. I've seen a lot of little whisper troll accounts as of lately. Well, I don't believe what you think this down ballot gonna do. But listen, let me tell you something. Voting is only one tool in your toolbox. There are a lot of other tools in your toolbox. I'm not telling you not to do anything other than vote down ballot. I'm not telling you that. That's one tool. The other tool is that we have to build. That's what this structure is going to do. It's a lot of running around and doing stuff that doesn't align at all with what we have been calling for. You have to understand that. Now, before the election, also in terms of what we're doing, it's up, but I have to put in content because I'm not going to let anybody go over to something that doesn't have any content. So ADOS HQ will be our online home. I think that's not the domain name, but that is when you get there. I think it might be ADOS chat because I thought of that later. Anyway, chapters will be there. We will have media there in terms of what we're doing with our chapters so that we can pull and put it in media kits. It will be a place for us to interface. So you have people calling all the time. Where do I go, Yvette? I want to be a part of a chapter. You can have that conversation there. A lot of this fighting, hopefully, will take place over there, as opposed to people trying to push out their chest on Twitter. Talk loud to me on Twitter. Don't talk to me in all caps. I'll block you. I don't want to hear your all caps conversation. Don't troll me. Don't gift me to death. I'm not interested. We can come here and have that conversation. People saying a lot of little stuff on Facebook they don't think I see. Oh, Yvette ain't on Facebook. She don't see this. I see you. I see it all. I don't say it all, but I see it all. Some of you agreed to stop fighting last weekend or whatever it was. And then I went on Facebook and you were still moving like a snake. Had my name a lot in your mouth. Even after you told me, yeah, it's cool. Even after you told me, yeah, we're going to stop. You just moved to another platform. I saw you. So if we want to be cohesive and we want to move together as a unit, first thing we have to understand is not just what I just said, the narrative and protecting it from the inside, and the mission and protecting that mission from the inside. The other thing that we have to understand is this. There is no one person who is above this movement. I don't care who it is. There is no one person. I don't care if we're talking about you or a candidate or somebody else. There is no one person. We are a cohesive unit. We do have a hierarchy. And that's going to be structured in there. From Antonio and I to chapter leaders and everybody else. There is a hierarchy in case anybody's confused. Put it right down there. But let's not be too confused. Well, what is? Well, I don't understand. Didn't nobody have no problem with XYZ. I don't see everything when it happens. I'm busy. I don't see everything when it happens. And if I do see something, no matter what it is, and I have a problem with it, I'm going to say so. And you don't have nothing to do about it. I have every right to have a disagreement with you. And you don't have any right to pump out your chest at me. It's a disagreement. It should not be disagreeable. We can all have disagreements without talking about and casting aspersions on one another. We are allowed to have disagreements. Good God, if I can have a disagreement in the movement I co-found, then what am I doing? This is not a rap video. This is not somewhere for you to exercise your beef or bring your frustrations or drop your frustrations at my door. That is your life. This is the movement. This is the people's movement. You do not get to destroy that. And you do not get to let somebody put a battery in your back and make you believe things that are not true. I'm tired of meddlesome old men. I love my people, but it's two of y'all. I got questions, and I'm not going to get into specifics. There's a lot of OGs out there acting as kids, and you're not acting cohesive. You're being very divisive in how you move. I don't need to bring it up. I don't need to bring it up, but we should try very hard not to throw each other under the bus. We should really try very hard not to do that. And certainly not over any particular person or candidate. Nobody is bigger than the movement that we are moving towards. Nobody. Not you, your uncle, your cousin, nobody. Nobody. Now what has to happen, and what everybody should be working on and building on, what everybody should be moving on and building on is how we're going to grow after this election. We are now working on the mission statement so that it is clear how we are going to move after the election. We should also be clear about what the hurdles are on moving in that direction. Listen, if there's anything that can sink us, because everybody's been trying to say that ever since PIFR. Oh, and I told y'all last time, we have a right, and I have a right, and you have a right to feel how we feel about immigration levels. We have a right. Latinos do it every day. White folks do it every day. That's your right and my right as a citizen. We have every right to say that we're owed more than everybody else. But let me tell you the other part of it. In terms of how we move forward, and in terms of whether we are ever able to truly mainstream our movement, there is no space for xenophobia. So what does that mean, Yvette? What are you talking about, Yvette? Well, here's the thing. I realized people weren't clear. So let me clear it up for you. ADOS will always be ADOS-led. Right? The chapters are ADOS-led. Co-founders of ADOS we will always make the final call. Is what it is. But you don't get to treat allies as pets who you just drag out whenever you want to say, hey, we're not xenophobic. But then you just tell to shut up and they can't disagree with you. I see you. This is an albatross. There is no success. Listen, I didn't build America either. America is what it is. And if you want to feel special, you better go talk to your spouse, your husband or wife. Find somebody to make you feel special in terms of like your individual self. We're a special group in terms of our contribution, but I ain't got nothing to do with how you feel about your individual self. I don't care. But you cannot say that I'm not going to be disagreed with by somebody because they're an ally. We have the final decision. Why would you care? If we have the final call, why do you care? Listen, if you got a good argument, you should be able to debate anybody, anywhere, at any time. If your argument is the best argument on the table, you should be able to debate anybody, anywhere, at any time. And if you can't, sharpen your skills. We're not here to rescue nobody from debates or silence nobody. We have the final call, period. So what you scared of? You don't need to call nobody no name or say nothing disrespectful to somebody because they're not ADOS. We are ADOS-led group. Always will be. There's no need for you to be disagreeable. One day, if y'all keep it up, somebody's going to make a list of everything that's said that's xenophobic, and they're going to kill us with it. You people who are playing online, y'all better stop. It's time to get serious. This house of ADOS, it's time to get serious about who we are and what we stand for. It's not time for games no more. It's not time for playing. It's not time for carve-outs. And when I say carve, I'm not talking about for y'all who say this. I'm not talking about a specific like group. I'm talking about I got two old men in my mind right now who are doing things that I believe are nefarious. I got two little puppeteers in my mind right now, and if you watch this show enough, you know who they are. I'm not talking about specific groups. I've shouted out specific groups on this show when they create content. I'm talking about people who are trying to use this specific group to do things that I don't agree with. And if you don't like it, then leave it there. You ain't got to tell me what you don't like. Leave it in your own mind. But ADOS is moving, and we are going to build, and we are going to be a group. And we are right on our stuff. We don't have to shout nobody down. Why you talking? Who is you? We can just out debate you. If we're on the right side of it. If we're on the right side of something, we can out debate you. It's time to get serious. I ain't got time to keep always fighting people in group. And my DMs are always open. My DMs are always open. If you have an issue, and I've told this to people in these various spaces, if you have an issue with me or something I said or something I did, my DMs are open. You don't have to always, so if I see you and the first thing you say out your mouth is something disrespectful, and you didn't reach out to me, why you didn't reach out to you? What? I don't know what you're doing. I don't know where you are. I don't know that. Reach out to me. And we can have a conversation. I'm not opposed to having conversations. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to building. I've talked to a lot of ADOS chapter leaders and everybody else. I'm not opposed to that. But we can't keep doing this. We can't keep letting letting people come in here and telling us, well, you know, Yvette, she's this way. You don't know me. I don't talk to hardly anybody. I don't have conversations with hardly anybody. Who are you whispering to and saying what you know about Yvette? Y'all better watch these people who tell you that they know me. I talk to Antonio. I don't hardly talk to, I don't talk to all the, who? Well, they say they your people. What are you talking about? This is time for growth. That's what this is time for. This is not time for play. I don't even need a lot of images for this. I'm just gonna say it to you. And like Antonio say, I'm gonna say it straight. C4 here. ADOS as an organization is here. It's time to get on board. If you want to be something else or you want to do something else, do that. If you want to be with us, which is where you should be, and we love all of our people, we love all y'all, then it's time to get on board. It's time to stop fighting and throwing each other under the bus and saying bad things about each other. Like I said before, we're not going to get to a space where we're fighting white supremacy if we keep fighting each other. We're not going to get to a space where we're fighting white supremacy if we're only fighting, and I'm not talking about the immigrants who talk bad about us. We got every right to roast them, and I'll roast them tomorrow. But we're not going to get anywhere shouting down allies. You want to shout down some white supremacy? You want to shout down some people who are tethering us to the bottom? You want to do that? What did I say about allies? We have to determine, based on our own values and our agenda, who is an ally and who is an enemy. That is the job. The job is not to shout down people so you can feel special. And then people can come to me because they're not going to come to you. They're always going to come to me, right? So people can come to me and say, Yvette, this happened to me and this is awful. And this is why everybody say, y'all is anti-immigrant. Yvette, this happened to me and this is awful. And this is why people always say, and I got to answer all these questions. And I got to deal with all this stress. Get your stuff together. If ADOS means something to you, I need you to be disciplined. In every way you move, I need you to move like whoever you respect most in your life. I need you to move like that person is looking at you at all times. That's how you move. Some of y'all do stuff on Twitter that would embarrass your mama, your daddy, your grandpappy, your sister, and everybody. And don't think because I don't say anything, I don't see it. It's just not worth my time and effort to comment. But we have moved into the mainstream. That's where we are. Whether anybody likes it or not, it don't matter. I don't care. That's where we are. We have been in everywhere from CNN to Vox to everywhere. That's where we are. We have grown up as an organization, and it's time to grow up as a group. It's not time to just be argumentative. And no one person, no one candidate, no one anything, no one professor. I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what your ambitions are. Nobody is bigger than the group. No one person is worth us tearing each other apart for that. And if you have to demean somebody to feel good about yourself, that's a problem. That is a problem. We should be elevated in terms of our wealth level. We deserve reparations. We deserve all of that. But we don't want to become the people who have oppressed us so that we get joy out of just diminishing other people. If somebody come at you wrong, you got every right to go at them. But we're not going to be the bullies. And I see some bullies out there. And as we come together as a structured organization, we're not dealing with that no more. No. We're not dealing with no bullies. We're not dealing with no loud talking people. We're not dealing with none of that. You fight. When people come at us and come at you, absolutely. But we don't punch down. That's not what we do. That's not who we are. And everybody wants to gut us anyway. Everything we do has to be done with integrity. Everything we do has to be done with foresight. I don't care how many chapters you think you influence. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. You cannot come on to Twitter and just be disagreeable and cause problems and bump your chest. This is not a vanity project. This is not a project for your ego. Check your ego at the door. Okay? It's too much nonsense. It's too much weirdness. It's too much carving out. It's too much. I'm going to put on a marketing campaign for this new thing I have. You've all made a contribution, and bravo to you. But it's time to move forward. And it's time to get serious. And getting serious means not rushing to throw other ADOS under the bus. That's just what it means. And we can't have a lot of unseriousness here. This space is stressful enough. This work is stressful enough. We have to focus on building. And I don't need to hear a whole bunch of stuff after the fact. Y'all know how to contact me now. I don't need to hear a bunch. If you go and say a bunch of stuff online, you're just going to prove my point. Just, if you have a disagreement, DM me. I'm not interested in Twitter fights. I'm a grown woman. I'm not interested in that. If you're a grown woman or a grown man and you have issues, you could absolutely DM me and we can have a conversation. And when we're on ADOS HQ, we can have the conversation amongst each other. So that is my conversation for today. I want to bring y'all in because I don't want to do this. I forgot the stop clock today. I don't want to do this and not have everybody have an input. So I'm going to stop it right here because I want to bring in everybody as soon as I can. It's already at 50 minutes so that you can have your say. So take your time, give me a few minutes to set up the phones, and we will have the conversation. right, fam, we are back. We are back, and I am going to my first call. So I am going to 314. What's wrong with this thing? 314. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what is on your mind?
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, fam. What's going on?
Hey, how you doing? This is absolutely nobody. This is the shadow babbler fighting for the good side of the force. I saw the rift. I saw it when it happened, and I almost saw it coming. And let me tell you, I saw it as two different kind of approaches to, the liberation or the movement or advancing the movement, advancing the cause. And those two different approaches just had never been fleshed out as far as like, okay, here's how we're going to move. Let me respect how you guys are going to move and whatever. So I'm not going to name any names. I'm going to be very politically correct. If you know, you know. But I will say this. I saw two arguments between two entities that I both have been following and watching for a long time. And the sad thing about that argument is that the two parties that were involved were neither one are like have bad intentions or anything like that. Now, again, the last time I called the show, I talked about Tariq, and we knew who he was. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who follows the conscious community like I have for years, we knew Tariq. We knew who he was. We knew what he was about. But I didn't, I whittled all those people out. Like, I don't follow the Boyces. I don't follow the Tariqs. I don't follow the Umars anymore. But everybody I'm following now who's in ADOS or down with ADOS, I don't see no grifters. I don't see no people with bad intent, including the chapters, and especially the, Atlanta chapter. I follow each and every member on Twitter. And they follow me too. Don't mean to brag, but they follow me too. But you know what I'm saying? But no, seriously, like what I see is people with good intent that just didn't have didn't know the other's philosophy. And I understand. I tried to write it out. I tried to, I was in there playing like fireman. I'm like, no, let me put this fire out before it really blows over. No, here's what happened, guys. No, here's what happened. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And the next thing I know, the whole block was on fire. I'm sitting here on this one house trying to put a fire out. Like,
well, what happened?
It's beyond me now.
You know what happened, though, fam? Let me just say this. There were some people who threw, and I went around that whole weekend trying to pour water on everything. Right, I was pouring water. Right. I was pouring water on grease fires that weekend, right? But what happened? Even though I disagreed. I think I disagreed respectfully with people. But what happened was there was a lot of people running around with cans of gasoline, and that's what I'm tired of. And who every time you blew a fire out, they poured the gasoline on top of it. So that was a big part of the problem. It was a big part of the problem. Not only the parties involved, and I tried to tell everybody like disagreements happen. Disagreements, that's fine, but you don't throw a whole bunch of people under the bus as part of that disagreement because y'all are not on the same page. But what happened is while I was saying that, and people were saying other stuff, there were some people, and I know who they are. I know who their names. I'm not gonna put y'all out on this show, but there were some people who were throwing gasoline on every fire.
Right.
And those people have to be purged. I'm just sorry. The people who were throwing gasoline, you got to go.
Right. Understood. And look, I ain't gonna lie. I saw a little bit of that myself. In some cases, I was actually DMing people, and in other cases, I was, I tried everything. You go through my timeline over the last couple weeks or week and a half or whatever this has been. You'll see me telling jokes. Like you'll see me trying to do everything I can to, bring up something that just kind of puts us back on course and back on track. Cause I was really like, man, I've never in my life wanted to not have something unravel so bad. And I'm usually kind of messy. I like seeing drama, but This one, no, not this one, not ADOS, not the movement.
Well,
no,
yeah, I was
that FBA thing.
Yeah, I was in a lot of people's threads saying, "Hey, fam, we got to come back together," and people was like, "But this happened, but this happened, but this was said, but," and it's just like, dude, oh my God, I mean, everybody got to grow up. Because the thing is, if I got mad at every time somebody called me out my name or said something on Twitter, I'd just be a mess. I'd be a frazzled mess. If every time, you know how many times I get tagged on Twitter and it's all just trash. Like, that's just what it is. That's just part of it. And if you are in this space, it's not right. And I will tell the other people, and I'll tell them, and I've told everybody who says like that it's not right. But on the other side of it, in terms of how you process things internally, you can't let that get to you. Like, because you said some things, they said some things, so people mad. And so, but then after that, you gotta let it go. Everybody got mad. Everybody fired their shots, and everybody fired shots. Don't play like you didn't. But like, somebody fired the first shot, and who I fought most is always the person who fired that first shot.
Right.
Because it wasn't worth shooting.
So just a little perspective for me. This doesn't have anything to do necessarily with the fight or anything, but I just thought of this like a couple days ago. You know how everybody goes, well, slavery was a long time, and we've been pushing the whole, well, it really wasn't that long ago. So I had a perspective that I don't know if it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks. I said, I'm a Gen Xer. That means that I've lived long enough to, have a grandmother and grandfather from what they would call the silent generation. And I hugged them. I touched them, I drooled on them in some cases when I was a baby.
Don't do that. Okay.
And those same people were touched by slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Those same people were touched by living slaves, former slaves. You think about it. My grandparents were born in the 20s. That means that when slavery was abolished, that means that if you were born in the time of slavery, you would have been touched by one of those people, or when slavery ended. I'm sorry. If you were born when slavery ended, those people would have been 60 when my grandparents were born. Mm-hmm. That means if you were 80 years old, and I know my grandparents were a close-knit family, so that means some 80-year-old who touched my grandparents, who I touched, were slaves. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing right there kind of puts it all in a perspective of what we're fighting for and gets me focused back on the mission. I don't know about everybody else.
Absolutely.
Maybe too young or whatever.
Some people need a picture at their desk. Put your picture. That's a good idea, friend. Put a picture of one of your ancestors if you have it. If you don't have it, find a picture of somebody else's and online somewhere. But put a picture of somebody in your family who was a sharecropper or whatever, or who inspires you, and put that picture up near where you are to keep in mind what you're fighting for. You're not fighting for your ego. You're not fighting to feel good. You're not fighting because nobody said nothing about you. We fighting for a very specific mission. And let me just say this. I'm very happy to play mediator if y'all start falling out. You can message me. I don't want to turn on Twitter, and see all hell done broke loose after I done had a good rest.
Right. Me too. Same thing. So I'm going to let you go for that. I love y'all, man. Shout out to the chat. I love you. I hope you ain't roasting me too bad. Love y'all. I will see you on the Twitterverse. Peace, y'all.
Appreciate it, fam. Thank you. They going to always roast you, though. You just come on. Hurry up. But I love the chat. The chat is a show in and of themselves. I'm going now to 323. 323, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? Hello?
Hey. It's ADOS North.
Hey, ADOS North. How you doing?
Hi.
How you been?
No, Yvette. Not this time. You're not going to ask me how I am. I'm calling to ask you how you are.
I appreciate the love, fam. I'm all right. I've been pretty good. I had a nap earlier. I felt really refreshed, and so I'm feeling good right now.
Okay, because I love you, right? But anyway.
I love you back.
So here it is. Now, with this thing that was going on back and forth with the back and forth and then the back and forth some more and the back and forth, because my nerves are bad. I can't take all that. I tried to mediate, some things between folks that it just wasn't working out, and I had to tell folks. I said, look, I told some folks that I didn't even know, that I never met a day in my life. I said, you don't know Yvette like that. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what she told anybody to do, or if she told anybody to do anything. You don't know that. I think you're stretching things a bit far. I also said, and I think this needs to get out there. Just like I told other folks that I love them. I told you and Tone that I've loved you several times, and that's just what it is. I really mean that.
I love you too.
With that being said, I said this.
Go ahead.
There are forces at work, people, you know what I'm saying, that they think a certain way about other people within the movement, that they might think that they're better than them. They think that they, should be heard over certain other folks. You understand what I'm saying? They might have a certain like over other folks. And I was telling that to somebody. I also said it on Twitter. That's just what it is. I see stuff for what it is.
I understand.
And that's, yeah. So it's not a surprise to me that you can't say the same thing. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you're always level-headed. That's what I appreciate about you. Because I'm that way myself. So there has been things that have been done to me so far as ADOS LA is concerned. Now, have I said and came and named any, and I've had some nasty things said to me. Have I came and mentioned any names on Twitter or started any fights? You will never see my name mentioned in that. I'm saying this to you all because, again, you have to, like Yvette said, I agree with her 100%. You have to be an adult about stuff. That's just what it is. And like I keep reminding ADOS, we are sitting up here at death's doorstep. We don't have time to be up here playing and with our finger in our butt like we have tomorrow. We don't have tomorrow. Okay? It's either sink or swim. Either you're going to get it, as we say in Brooklyn, either you're going to get out or you're going to lay down. Which one is it?
That's true. That's true. You ain't lying.
That's just what it is. So you're going to have to pick something. You understand what I'm saying? If you can't pick the right thing, and you 40 and you 50 and you 60 years old still playing, and you've had a good life, but now you're looking at people that's younger than you, like us, you and I, like the folk in the chat. You understand what I'm saying? But you've had a good life, but you're up here playing, and we're up here looking holy hell. Then you want to look at yourself. You really want to go look in the mirror, and you want to look at yourself and ask yourself, who are you and what are you doing?
Ooh.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand
That's
what
you need to do.
No, that's true.
I'm sorry, Eva, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, and let me just say this. Like, if somebody is punching on you on Twitter, like, if somebody's punching on you, like, I know you hold your own or whatever, but if you, like, listen, Yvette, some people who is high up in ADOS is punching on me, DM me and send me a screenshot. I'll do everything I can to take care of it. Like, I don't do hierarchy. Like, I've never been at I don't get into that. I don't get into, like, I'm up here and people down there. I've never been an elitist. I was a kid in elementary who they tried to bully. I always fought back. I throw a rock and hit you dead in between your eyes. But the point is, I don't like that because I've had people gang up on me. I don't like it. So, like, if you DM me and say, hey, these people are really doing it, I'm there. And I agree with you, North. I agree with you. Like, we have to stay focused. I absolutely agree. But the thing is, too, certain people can't do certain things. That's another part of it. Like, people got to be grown people. There's a lot of stuff y'all say online that you would never say to somebody's face. I want you to think about this. If I was in front of Yvette, would I say this to Yvette? Like, if I was in front of North, would I say this to North? Like, you got to think about that. And if you wouldn't say it right, looking at me dead in my eye, then just don't say it. And if you got something that you don't want nobody else to see or whatever, then DM me. But don't do stuff for clout or I'm gonna really knock Yvette out or something like that. Or I'm gonna really go at somebody or what. This is just stupid. I don't do bullying. We have to have hierarchy because that's our structure as an organization. So as an organization, you have to have the top, you have to have the middle, you have to have, you have to have leaders, and you have to have, you have to go from top. That's because we're not Black Lives Matter, so we have to have a hierarchy in terms of how we structure things. What I'm talking about is how I meet people person to person. I never see myself above anybody or below anybody. The hierarchy is different. I'm never going to treat you less than me, or I'm never going to treat you as better than me. As a structure or as an organization, we have to have co-founders and we have to have leaders and we have to have a structure. Other than that, we just anarchy like Black Lives Matter. So we have to have a structure. We have to have a structure because what that means, people say, oh, well, Yvette just wants power. No, what that means is that Yvette and Antonio are now accountable. That means Yvette and Antonio are accountable when things go wrong. Because you have to have somebody that's accountable at the top when stuff goes wrong. You can't be Black Lives Matter but say, "Oh, I don't know." No, I want you to come to me and say, "Listen, this is a thing that went wrong and you don't condone it, so do something about it." That's what this structure sets in place. But when I say that, what I'm saying is that I don't see myself as better than you. Even up here, even as co-founder, I'm not better than you, and I'm never gonna treat you as less than a human as I am. And I've seen some of that, and that's problematic. And I'll let you finish off, North. I'm sorry.
No. You're absolutely right. Because I want to come in and finish with this. Now, I if anybody has looked on my Twitter page, and because I was in jail for a while, Twitter jail. So I had got off the POC and whatnot. But anyway, so I just want to to remind people of this, because this reparations fight is so. Oh my God! It's just it's really detrimental. I often point at my own life, and all of you who are living beneath the boomers, who have all of our wealth. I need you to understand. I need you to take a real good look at me. That's what I need y'all to do. I need y'all to take a real good look at me. I don't come out here to be laughed at, to be sneered at, to be joked at. I need y'all to look at my life. You understand what I'm saying? I tell people that I'm homeless and tell you what it's like, because I need y'all to understand. That's what you're gonna go through. Understand that y'all living up under these boomers, and they have all of our wealth and these celebrities and things of this nature. That's why I talk about my situation so much, because that's gonna be you. But you keep playing around if you want to. You think it ain't gonna never happen to you.
Yep.
So like I said, it's either sink or swim. You get down or you lay down. I'm out. I love you, Yvette. I love you, Tone. I love you, Jay.
I love you back. Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. But it's a lot of us around here that don't think stuff can happen to us. I don't live that way. I don't think anything can happen to me. I know anything is possible at any given moment. Anything is possible, and I know it. So that's how I live life. I live life with that knowledge. And North is right. Anything could happen, and you have to speak to somebody who comes from that experience and tells you how it happened to understand that, yeah, it can happen to me too. Happen to anybody. Like, especially if you already tell it to the bottom, you think it can't happen to you. Be humble. Like, I don't care how high you are in life in terms of whatever maybe you're a unicorn. Be humble. So anyway, I am going I'm going to my next call. I am going now to 765. 765, what is your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
What's going on, babe? This is Jermaine calling from Dallas.
What's going on, Jermaine? How you doing?
I've been good. I've been waiting on you to get back in the live, get back on your live for 2 weeks.
It's a week. Ain't no 2.
Because that first week, boy, man, that was something else.
It's good to be missed, fam. It's good to be missed.
We saw some things go down on Twitter that I mean, oh man, I don't even know what to say to it. I mean, I jumped in and I had something to say about it. But I realized I was coming from the wrong angle, so I had to delete my tweet. I said I wasn't even approaching this right. So I wound up deleting mine. I don't care how many people went in and liked it had to go. But I'm glad that you actually did speak up and speak out about it. You know what I mean? And took a leadership position and had something to say to those who were being bullies on there. And I appreciate you doing that.
No, thank you, fam. I appreciate you.
Other than that, I ain't had nothing else to say. I just wanted to come in and thank you for that and just let you know that we all rooting for you. We all out here. We all got your back.
Appreciate it, fam. Appreciate it. And I tried to come in. I was in everybody's DM. Hey, wait, stop. Don't do it. Don't fire that shot. Oh, wow. Anyway, I'm going to 614. 614, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Oh, that's me. Cool. This is Selena, Columbus, Ohio.
What's going on?
Well, I am happy, very happy to hear that you're starting a C4 now, because, I remember the whole issue with the starting the pack, and I did participate in that, trying to get that organized, but, at the same time, I always give you credit, because you said at the time that, we were young, still wet behind the ears type of thing, and I remember all that, so
And I'm still opposed.
I'm
gonna let you finish, fam. I'm sorry, but I'm still opposed to starting a PAC. Like, I'm still opposed to that. I think you have to have some kind of structure. But like, PAC money is really where money goes when there's extra money. So you have people who have already donated the most, but you need some money to flow somewhere. A little dark money too. We don't have that. But what we do need is some kind of structure, obviously. Like, what this showed is the need for structure. And right, remember I did the poll about whether we should or shouldn't.
I'm not particular about a PAC between the PAC and the C4 when it comes to structure, because you can still have to write bylaws and everything for your PAC and everything. So for me, it's like, just get it done. I don't care how you do it.
Well, we have to have some structure. Like, a PAC is not a C4, totally different organization, but you have to have something.
Yeah.
And remember, I put the thing up on. The reason I didn't do it sooner, honestly, I put the poll up on Twitter. Should we do X, Y, Z? And it was very split. Like, there was a lot of division in terms of, and I said, well, people kind of are not on the same page. People kind of not are on the same page in terms of what we're doing. So you have to, you give it some time, and let's see if people come around. And I don't think people understand that. I know you do, fam. But I don't think people, even some people in the chat, don't understand that a PAC and a C4 are not the same thing. Like, they're so far apart.
Right.
And if you don't understand that, you should probably go and do your research. I'm still opposed to starting a PAC. It doesn't make sense. But a C4 is something that will provide us with some kind of structure, so that people don't kind of run off and kind of do their own thing. And everybody knows, like, what we're thinking, what we want to do, and we so we can put the bylaws in place. We can talk about what our mission is in terms of mobilizing and growing ADOS. That's what you do in between elections. You grow your base of people, and so we have to do that. And I think anybody who would say, like, I know you didn't say it, fam, but anybody would say, oh, that's hypocrisy, doesn't understand the difference between a PAC and a C4. And we'll also we'll probably have a C3 coming out of the ADOS Institute with Dr. Cosby and Simmons. So that will also will be for that, but I can't be involved in that. I'm too political. But so we're doing a lot of things. But go on, fam. I'm sorry, I done interrupted you.
Well, I wanted to also piggyback on that whole takeover thing you was talking about, because ADOS took over the Green Party back in 2017. I'm wondering why everybody's kind of late to the party. Because when they took over the Black Caucus, they put in the reparations into the platform, and now some more people are coming in to add some edits, and we're doing everything that was said to do. So I don't see the problem, because like right now what's happening with the Black Lives Matter and the ADOS leader in Minnesota, he's now the national co-chair. I'm the state co-chair of Ohio. Most of the Green Party's state leaders are ADOS, so I don't understand what the pushback was, because that's what you pretty much instructed everybody to do. So
yeah, I don't understand either. And like, for some people, the Green Party isn't on your ballot. But yeah, I think in terms of what you talked about, there was a lot of project takeover in there, and I don't see the issue with taking over parties or institutions or whatever we can take over. Like, we can't always rebuild everything, but we can take over some stuff. So.
And it's working, and you caught everybody's attention, did more than the previous reparation group. So I'm just riding with the marketing, and let's do this, because that's what we're supposed to be doing.
All right, fam. I appreciate you calling in, and I want to thank you for your call. She was talking about how they took over the Green Party already, and everybody's saying we really shouldn't do this. Anyway, going to 502. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Peace, Vet. This is Councilman Ja'Cory Arthur in Louisville. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good, Ja'Cory. What's going on with you?
So much. I'm gonna try to wrap this up nice and neatly in a bow with 3 points.
Okay.
And I'm gonna talk directly to the listeners. One, this this new ADOS structure is going to add some accountability that will help us measure the commitment to this work. That includes, of course, political education, activation, legislation centered on ADOS and reparations. So when it forms, it will really help us see and understand who wants to work versus who just wants to be a jerk, because some folks are trying to do project takeover on the wrong team. Two, I shouldn't be 28 years old in this space and more mature than people 10, 20, 30 years beyond my age. I shouldn't be interviewing with the BBC, New York Times, Al Jazeera, and they pull up tweets from ADOS people being xenophobic while I'm saying that we're not xenophobic. We can't fight oppression by becoming oppressors. We have to grow up. I found a teacher in Dr. Cosby who led me to find a teacher in you and Tone. And some people are teaching the wrong thing, but that's not all bad because it's teaching some of us how not to be and what not to do. And then three, I need everyone to stop comparing my campaign to others. Because when you look up the work that I've done online, when you Google me, there are pages of that work in education, art, and community prior to the campaign, and even more importantly, prior to ADOS. I was already fighting this fight, but ADOS sharpened my sword. It molded my armor. It helped me better understand my target. So I didn't necessarily run on ADOS. I ran for ADOS, and there's a big difference. And the work was never about me. It was never about the campaign. And these campaigns take messaging. They take mobilizing and money. You need all three. You can't get away with cheating one and expect the others to kind of fill in the void. And I put a note out online about people interested in running for office, and we're still going to have that call. It's going to happen through the new ADOS HQ platform. It's time for us to level up. I'm here 110% dedicated to this work, and I look forward to moving it forward with you and everybody else.
Oh, thank you, Jacory. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, fam. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And that was a wonderful call. And I think people have to understand what goes into a thing, what doesn't go into a thing, and the kind of people that we need to be to move our message further. You know, we can't have people hating us and talking about us, and we hurt people like Jacory, like he said, when they go on interviews and he says, no, we're not xenophobic, that's not who we are, and they can bring up 20 ADOS hashtag comments that prove the opposite. This moment is so much about how disciplined we are willing to be. We have to be a disciplined group. If you hit this just to punch down and mock and make fun of, this is not for you. This is not your journey. And we bid you farewell, and we will grow and move on. I'm going to the next call. I'm going to 916. 916, I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? You there, 916? 916.
Oh, hi, this is Wendell. I'm an infant, if you were to compare me in my my maturity in watching you guys on TV. I got advised of you when I retired a couple of months ago, and was concerned about some of the things I've heard you speak to. Listening to you today, I felt like I needed to call you, because all I want to do is say to you that it's people like me who haven't had their ear on the ground to listen, because the rugger of life, just going through stuff. I'm so impressed with so much of what I hear you say and what Tone say. It's just unbelievable that God has blessed us with minds like yours and his to come here and speak to us about what we need to do as a people and for each other. So regardless of the fights that's going on out there, I wanted you to know that, you got voices out here listening like mine that want to make a contribution to the change and listening for guidance and leadership that come from people like you, and other folks like Tone. Okay,
Thank
so
you,
hang in there.
I appreciate it, fam. Thank you so much. And I'm hanging in there. Like I told North, I had me a nap. I'm hanging in here. I'm going to 515. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Jeff calling from the Midwest, and I wanted to really talk to the audience a little bit, and if just we as followers can be patient with you guys. I did follow the argument and the disagreement that was happening. it looked a little weird to me. Just it was almost like they were overstepping bounds, not intentionally. So I feel like this structure is really going to help. But if we look at the bigger movement of what you guys have done, you know, you, Tone, and Dr. Darity as well, I mean, it's taken over. So everyone is having this conversation now, and I think we're getting a little excited. Everyone has opinions. A lot of people have done a lot of work in this, but if we can give you guys time to execute what you've already done and be better followers, this structure is going to help do that too. We need to let you guys have the time to think through these things. I mean, you guys have led a huge movement, and it's working. We just need to give you more time to evaluate, come back, readjust, and make new decisions. So again, just wanted to give you guys some flowers right now, but just keep up the work. And as audience members, we just got to be more patient and let the people that have led this movement continue to do that without everyone's opinions and ideas of what they think might work, and let you guys tell us what is working and keep that going. So thank you again.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. And like I said, chapter leaders will have that opportunity. Most of you have already DM'd me. I didn't DM everybody back, but I do have information. So most of the chapter leaders, and you will have your say so. Even if you have bylaws, we can just approve those bylaws, you know, that you already have. So you're not going to have to reinvent the wheel, and you all will have a say as leaders in your own capacity, in terms of what is happening. We know, and the thing is, let me tell you the beautiful part about doing this now rather than 6 months ago or a year ago. What we also have is a track record. There are people who have, when the dude called in, remember dude called in, he said, "Vet, we need money." And I said, "How many people you got in your chapter?" Or something like that. And he didn't have a lot. And I said, "You don't need much. You don't have a large chapter. What are you doing?" Right? And I said that for a reason, because I want to see who's willing to do the work without anything. Right? See, I think it'll be great if we collect dues and then send 100% of those dues back to the chapters to do work. But what I have right now is a track record. I have a track record of the chapters who've done a lot of work with no money. Right? So what you have to, sometimes you just have to give people space to be who they need to be. And if they're in here for the right reasons, what they're going to do is do the work regardless. So you know, when you come back around and you have something to give them to undergird what they're doing, you already know, because they got a track record that spans back a year and a half, 2 years, or 6 months, or however long. You have to give people space to show you who they are in the movement. That's part of it. And that's why you don't rush it. Anyway, let me go to the next call, fam. I'm going to 312. 312, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yeah, this is Renald calling from the Windy City. And I'm very fired up. I wasn't involved in that schism that took place on Twitter, because I try to disengage from misinformed and uninformed people. Now, you said a key word. You talked about structure. Now, if you look at a pile of bricks and look at a skyscraper, you got to ask your question: what is the difference between the pile of bricks and the skyscraper? The answer to that question is organization.
Speak on it.
Now, moving forward, based on the impetus, if that's the right word, of what you guys are giving us a preview of a common attraction, I've had visions of the ADOS movement going down the road based on my historical background and information, because we dealt with scholarship back in the day. Another thing that is going to help through structure is to let people understand that the things that matter the most can never be at the mercy of the things that matter the least.
Ooh, say that again. Say that one more time, though. You got to say that again.
The things that matter the most can never be at the mercy of the things that matter the least. Because, look, I've been resurrected because I came out of an organization back in the 60s where we had similar problems. So I'm going to drop a word on you. And we may have to use it in the future moving forward because those do not get in line based on our specific agenda. They may have to be purged. That's what we did in the 60s. We purged. If your thinking wasn't in line with our thinking and you were operating from a place of misinformation and no information, you're talking about we got to get on the same page. Well, guess what? Some people got to pick up a book before they could even get on the same page. When I left Louisville last year, being a third-generation businessman, born during an era that you people call baby boomers, my 52 track record as it relates to the liberation of black people or ADOS people in the 2020. Baby, please, when I left and started reading 2-3 hours a day and get more information, I already had a good historical foundation, but it was new data and research that was available that wasn't available in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. This took me to a place where I stopped feeling bad about myself and thinking I was embarrassing my grandfather that started his business in 1909 and embarrassing my mother that started her business in 49 because I had a long track record of having a lot of businesses. Guess what the denominator was in the failures of my business, which they really helped me be more successful, was I was undercapitalized. Mm-hmm. So when I started reading the research and the data, it helped me feel better about myself and what I needed to do to shift my focus, continue to shift my focus towards the collective versus the individualism that people born through my era that I take offense. You call me a baby boomer, you got a problem with me. Because my history and track record does not exemplify the characteristics of the majority of the baby boomers. Now, Yvette, I'm looking forward. I don't know how I can get involved. And let me say, close by saying this. When it comes to the local chapters, as a result of bringing structure to what you call a hierarchy or having structure on a national level, it's going to make some chapters get in line. And people are going to get a better understanding of what leadership is about. Because when you sit in a meeting and tell the people what you want to do, and you call yourself a leader, and you say, let's move into action, put the boots on the ground, you turn around, and ain't none of your ADOS members from your chapter behind you, well, guess what? You're just going for a walk. And we don't need no people going for a walk in the name of ADOS, whether it's local or national.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. Thank you, fam.
Yvette,
hey,
I'm so excited.
I'm so
excited.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. And you know, if there was one weekend that made me think, yeah, this has to be structured. And like, I'm not just about purging or getting rid of everybody. I'm not like that. I think people make mistakes. But I think when mistakes happen, you have to be the first one to comment and tell people what those mistakes were and how we have to move going forward. You have to do that when people make mistakes. You have to. And so that's what we're doing here. There's always space to come through. I've talked to some of those people after the fact and talked to them about it and talked to them about ways to work through it. That's why I am. I'm not trying to necessarily carve out a divide, but I have to speak on what I need to speak on. And so when I looked at this past weekend, you know, I've been thinking about, like, you know, you want to have some wisdom, right? So when is it time? When is it time? Show me when it's time. And you saw that, okay, it's time. There's too much unstructured nonsense going on. It's time. It's time now. We have to do it now. Because there's a whole bunch of stuff and there are people playing around in the background who are trying to use other people for their own benefit. And these are people, the people that they're trying to use are really trying to do good stuff. But you have them, you know, working for you in a way that isn't even working for the people. And so you have to say, okay, well, now it's time. So let me go to the next call. I am going to 610. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing? This is Uncle Loke from Chester, Pennsylvania.
What's going on?
Not much. I'm glad I'm on the phone. I've been trying for weeks, but I really appreciate y'all movement. You know what I'm saying? At first, based on to go on to the topic in which y'all speaking on, I was kind of turned off when I first started hearing about ADOS, based on a lot of people saying, "Oh, you're not black, you ADOS," and it just like rubbed me the wrong way because you have Hebrew Israelites and you have all these other different kind of groups trying to, from my understanding or from my viewpoint, try to discredit. You know what I'm saying? I think it was disrespectful to our ancestors. But once I started dealing with you and listening to your channel, I got a different perspective. Okay. And it's like totals like night and day sometimes. Like what you be saying and what Tone be saying is a lot different than what a lot of people who put ADOS on their chest and go represent from my experience. So that's all.
Give me your experience though. What they did when they put ADOS on their chest? What they did?
I mean, and a lot of times where I'm historically inclined in reference to Black history, present, and all that. And a lot of times I be talking about how black I am and how black people need to do such and such and such. And then somebody gonna say, "Oh, you ain't black, you ADOS." I'm like, okay. And it's just like. And like at first, I've had debates with people as far as the acronym. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, that's a petty difference because it ain't my group, so I can't dictate to nobody how they want to call it. But it's just been petty differences. Ain't nothing big.
All right. Okay.
But
that's cool.
That's
cool.
I'm just glad I'm speaking with you. And I appreciate this movement that you got cracking off. And it's good you organizing everything because I feel as though it's going to weed a lot of people who I feel as though might be misrepresenting y'all.
Bad actors out there causing mess might get rooted out, you say?
Yeah.
All right.
I appreciate it. I'm glad I'm a little nervous. You know what I'm saying?
No problem. Take your time.
But thank you very much.
All right, fam. I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling in. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that kind of too. Like, I was on that. What was that? With the Atlanta Black Chambers, and one of the guys told me like, well, I agree with Yvette's message, but a lot of people who carry her message don't carry it like her, in the sense of, you have to have ambassadors for ADOS, and they were saying that some people have been very bad ambassadors. And so, and listen, let me just say this before I forget it. You have to understand timing too. You have to be able to pivot, right? So there was a time when ADOS first started. We were fighting a lot of people. We were fighting black immigrants too, because they weren't aware and they thought we was coming at them and they was coming at us. I remember I went off one time because somebody called me the descendant of a cotton picker, and I went slap off. And so that was a moment where we were fighting for our lives, for lack of a better word. We have to understand now that we've kind of pivoted out of that in a way, in the sense that we have mainstreamed ourselves. We're in every magazine. We're in the news. People know who we are. And we can't be that. We can't fight that same fight. The fight is different now. When the fight changes, you have to change. You have to be able to adjust. That's just what it is. And that's just kind of where we are right now. So anyway, let me go to my next call. I am going to 347. 347, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, this is Bernadette from New York. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
You good. I'm good, too. I had to call in. I haven't called in a while, but I just wanted to say, you are right. I've been listening from day one to you, and I'm not going nowhere because I know what you're talking about is the real deal. Mm-hmm. Everybody else that wants to come and get, along with ADOS because they are ADOS, they need to follow your lead. I consider you the matriarch of ADOS. And for that, nice. It's nothing but respect.
Thank you.
Respect, forget it. Just forget it. If you throw a chair, I'm going to throw that chair too. I'm going there to fight for our lineage. These people got it twisted. They think that we're against them. In other words, if it's an immigrant or if it's a white person. I think I was online, and I was expressing how I grew up with different ethnicities. Not to disrespect anyone. Somebody asked a question about what did you call African people or whatever. I said I never called them nothing but my friend, because these are people I grew up around. So I was never taught that in my household to disrespect other people. My mother taught us to respect all people, regardless to their ethnicity.
Absolutely.
So somebody, the girl was, I guess the young lady responded back and said, well, my father taught me to not respect or to not deal with white people at all. That's the wrong perception. If you're ADOS, this is what's making us look bad online. And I just wanted to bring that to your attention. It's not what you do, it's the way you do it. That's it. And I thank you and Tone. Y'all keep up the great work. And if there's anything that I can do to help, or if I did anything wrong, y'all need to nudge me and say, listen, that's not it. Other than that, I'm with y'all 100%.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Yvette.
Thank you. And you know what? Somebody
Have a good night.
You too. Somebody said in the chat, well, Yvette fights with people on Twitter too. Listen, I really don't fight most of the time unless you bring the fight to me. And I try to fight and debate respectfully. I try not to call names and all that stuff. I try to use information. I try to fight in such a way that that I don't embarrass myself and I don't embarrass you. That's how I fight. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have disagreements on Twitter. That doesn't mean that. I mean, I would hope that maybe you can disagree. If you are ADOS, that you can disagree in house or DMs first. But, like, that doesn't mean that you're not going to disagree with other people. I think what we're looking at is the way in which you disagree, right? The way in which you best your opponent in a debate. That's going to be very important going forward, right? Because everybody wants to gut us and gut what we're doing. And you have to always be cognizant of the fact that people really don't want us to exist as a movement. That's just what it is. So let me go to my next call. I'm going to 714. 714, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? You there, 714? What's the drop? Oh, let me see. Hold on. Oh, it's not coming up. 714 is not coming up. Hold on 1 second. You got stuck or something. Oh, the calls is acting up. Ain't that something? The internet is still up, but the calls is acting up, fam. But let me just say this while the calls is doing whatever they do. That's some interesting stuff. It's like I just said, you know, in the sense of more and more as we go and, you know, people start talking about what they want to do and all that kind of stuff and who they want to be and all of that kind of stuff. What happens is you're going to have to kind of decide, right? You're going to have to, I don't know a better way to put it, but you're going to decide who you're going to be and how you're going to represent the movement. And I know that's a huge call, right? In terms of how you're going to represent the movement. That's a lot. That's a lot to ask of somebody. How you gonna represent the movement? What? But it is what it is, and we're at a place where you cannot, or we cannot, have someone or have a group behave badly on Twitter the way we have been sort of behaving. Some of us, not all of us, fam, but behaving badly on Twitter. So let me see if I can go to this. Let me see if I can go to 714, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yvette?
Hey, what's going on, 714?
Yvette, can you hear me now?
I can hear you just fine, fam. What's going on?
Yvette, this is Ron. I'm calling from Southern California.
What's on your mind?
Yeah, we've spoken before. Well, glad to have you back on the air or on the YouTube.
Me too.
Welcome. Hello to all of the ADOS family out there and the chapters representing. Right, Yvette, I didn't catch the first part of your show, so I'm not really sure what exactly your topic was, but I'm actually calling for my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And she's had, I guess, a bad week and a half from not satisfying her addiction to your show. If I can say that. So She's not available at the moment, but she told me to try and call in and just welcome you back as well.
Oh, thank you.
I've been following you since you and Army worked together, so I kind of turned her on to you.
Oh, good.
And she's more addicted than I am now. Actually, I just catch your show a little later.
Okay.
Because I'm not available usually when you're on. But again, I'm not a Twitter follower, so I only caught bits and pieces through my wife and through other persons about what was going on. I really don't know what's going on. I really don't know. But the thing about it is, it led to a very emotional week for my wife and I. We weren't at each other's throats, but she was just really sad. So the fact that the ADOS family and any type of interruption like this Twitter war or whatever was going on has on at least my family. I don't know about any. I can probably say it had this effect on other people as well, on our morale.
Yeah.
Because we have become somewhat of a family. It's only through, social media or this YouTube channel, You and Tone, and all the other chapters, which I follow, and all the other YouTubers that are out there that has, an ADOS following. So whenever we have these type of incidents, it does affect us. It's not seen, but it does affect us, and we prefer not to. I know these are inner family squabbles, maybe growing pains. That's what I was telling my wife, and that we're gonna iron it all out. And I think I did hear you talking about some organizational structure, which I think is very important and needed. And I think it's a great step, a great move to make toward our building and future progress, because it's a movement that's not gonna be stopped. Now, I think there is a distinguish or we got to distinguish between the hashtag and the ADOS people. I think those are two separate things, but it's all together. But it's two separate things as far as the way I'm reading it. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but is that true what I'm saying or not?
Well, ADOS, and this is what I was trying to tell somebody else. Somebody said ADOS is just a lineage. Yes, but the lineage anchors a movement, right? The lineage anchors like the fight for our justice claim. And because we are trying to extend ourselves and do things that are not just reparations, we have a black agenda. But ADOS is not just a lineage. That was like the Tariq argument. It's a lineage. I don't want to talk about it's a lineage. It's a lineage. Yes, but the lineage anchors a political movement, right? Because it's all about what has been stripped and plundered from this lineage. So you have to define the lineage so you can define the group and talk about what the cost that the group bore, like the cost that we bear, right? And what we're owed. Yeah. So the lineage anchors a political movement.
Okay, good enough. That's some information that I can use when I'm debating with certain people out there, and I do debate quite a bit, not with just other ADOS people, but also immigrants and also white colleagues that I have at work. So I appreciate that. One other thing I wanted to ask you is, moving forward after these elections, regardless of the outcome, are there plans involved in how we're going to move as far as the building more chapters, I can't think of the name now, the movement with the bill that's in Congress right now, or that we're trying to get the study of, H240. I forget the number now.
I can say yes to that. More to come, because I want to talk to the chapter leaders about that first before I say anything about it here. So.
Well, I just want to hear. Yeah, I don't want you to let the cat out of the bag. I'm sure you guys. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that people don't know about. And I guess again, and a parting shot, I just want to say we got to stick together. Unity is really our strength, and we can show a lot of people how to. Well, we've always been fighters here in this country, as black people. Everybody's not on the boat at the same time, but what we do does affect all of us. So we got to stay unified.
Absolutely.
And fight together. We're gonna have these squabbles.
Yeah,
you know, and we're gonna have to put fires out sometime and purge and put people in the corner for a timeout and and then come back.
Absolutely.
But we do have to protect you and Tone, fortify this movement. So these little Twitter fires do not engulf us like the California fires or engulfing us out here.
Yeah, absolutely, fam, absolutely. So, I want to thank you so much for calling
appreciate
in.
You, Yvette. Thank you for letting me call in tonight.
No problem. Tell your wife I said what's up.
I'll talk to you again.
All right, you take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And let me just say that's why I spent so much time running around and trying to put out fires when I saw it happening, because I was like, no, this is too much, and there's too much being said, and there's too much disrespect going around for us to call. You can't call yourself fam and then go around and talk disrespect. There was one guy who came to me and he was talking about Be the Power, and he said, well, Yvette, you just want to get Be the Power out of here. And he's, and I was just like, gosh, you're a flamethrower. Because, I was the one who said we should as a group create political content. I have, before all this happened, I have shouted them out on the show. I have retweeted them. So it's these people who kind of, they concoct and create like these conspiracy theories. Like, how do you think you know what's in my mind? Like, and why would that be good? Like, if people are creating political content, why would I decide, after you do what I said do, why would I say go away or you shouldn't be here? I can say I disagree with something. I can say be careful of the company you keep. But that's different than saying that you shouldn't, that you just got to get out of here. Yes, you can't. I have a problem with a lot of the conversation that took place and how people were disrespected. But I'm never a person who don't say what I think. If I think a certain thing, I say it. I ain't got to hide from you. I ain't scared of you. If I thought that way, I would say it. I'm not saying that because that's not what I'm thinking. So, you have to watch these little people who just go around and make stuff up and start fires. That's one thing I saw. The problem wasn't even just with the fight. The problem was with the people who were running around too and trying to throw gasoline on the fight. And let me tell you something else. Part of the problem is people who are doing good work get discouraged when they get attacked. So if you're going around attacking and you're doing this, and we're going to deal with the whole Tamara campaign after this election. I'm not through there either. We're going to deal with that, but I'm not going to deal with it right now. I've decided, I have said I wasn't going to tip the scale on that, and I'm not. But I'm going to deal with this after the case. Because a lot of stuff that's been said that can't be dealt with right now. I'm not going to tip any scale. Everybody do what they do, support how they support, vote how they vote, phone bank how you phone bank. And after, we're going to have a conversation about it. We're going to have to deal with it. And we're going to have to pick it apart, and we're going to have a whole conversation. But anyway, let me go to 973. 973, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Yes, my sister. So glad to have you back.
Thank you, fam.
This is Tex Brother Wiz from New Jersey.
What's up with you? How you doing?
Hey. I'm doing great.
Good.
I didn't know you was back there putting all those fires out. I guess like more people have to learn how to use the DMs on this thing. That's one of the problems.
True.
And like the structure is going to be beautiful. It's going to be magnificent. But in addition to the structure, we speak of code. And one of the codes that we need is that when there's a disagreement or a difference, you don't put it out in the street and start calling people out. That's where the whole thing started.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree?
Well, yeah, I think a lot of things were said in the street.
You go.
Hello?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was waiting for you.
Oh, no. I just said a lot of things were said in the street. But I'll let you finish. I'm sorry.
No. It's like people, like, we have to know how to move, around each other more. So if there's a philosophy or strategy. You just have to respect everybody's decisions and everybody's, we have to respect each other's intellect, and we just have to learn how to work it out in the DMs or have a sit down or a virtual sit down, and don't put it out for the general public to see it.
Absolutely.
Because that's when personalities get crooked, and that's when the flame starts.
That's true. That's true, fam. That's true, fam.
That's all I wanted to say.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you, fam.
The next caller.
Thank you. I appreciate you, fam. Have a good night. I'm going to my next caller. I'm going to. Let me see. I'm going to 678. 678. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
What's going on, Vic?
What's going on with you?
Man, this was a mess. So, this is Shamika. I'm actually a part of the ADOS chapter in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And I just got to say, the most hurtful thing was that people were speaking and not knowing the background. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people that already had issues, they kind of took what issues they had and ran with it and made it way worse than it had to be because they wanted to get some things off their chest. You know what I mean? So I had a real big problem with that. And I didn't really participate in the back and forth only because I'm like, that's just not me. I responded to one tweet because I'm just that person. I respond, I speak when spoken to. You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm talking about in particular, so all of ADOS Atlanta was tagged, and the statement was, we put in work. And I responded, hell yeah, we put in work. Even with Tamara, I know you didn't want to talk about it, but I'm going to just put a little bit out there. You know, we have phone banks. We phone banked. We donated. We passed out cards. We even attended events. But the truth is, the work that we've done outside of that, we've engaged with politicians, community leaders on forums every week.
I know.
Currently working with MPUs. Yeah, we work with MPUs, the neighborhood planning unit, the units that basically decide development that happens in Atlanta. Yeah. You know, we're working. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention the NAACP, all of which is done with limited resources and for free. So for all of the people that are mentioning and talking and don't know, you know what I'm saying, just do me one favor. Come on in the room and come to some of these meetings. You know what I'm saying? Don't talk about what we should be doing. What are you doing? And for anybody talking about how we need to move with these candidates, come on, man, what are you going to do? Because the truth is, we probably have donated to her more than anybody. Even after she threw us under the bus, we were still in there. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
And it was hurtful to me. It was hurtful.
I can understand that.
So anybody that want to holler at ADOS Atlanta, what you do is come on in the room. Come on in the meeting. Every other, well, we change every other Sunday. Come on in the room. Do some work. And stop talking. Don't be on the sideline. Because that's not what we need. And we need the groundswell. What she's needing, man, she's running a race that calls for millions and millions and millions of dollars, which we all know we do not have. Stop playing. We don't have the money, and they know it. But we on principle, and because we were emotional, and I'm talking about myself. I was so emotional. I'm like, oh, reparations is on the ballot.
Yeah.
Baby, it's on the ballot, but how far are we going to move it? And just saying hypothetically, if she won, how many people she going to have boxing with her? We're trying to build coalitions so that when we have candidates, we're not talking about candidates that we're talking about candidates that we're going to go to them with our agenda and say, this is what we want. We're not necessarily saying that they have to come through our chapter. We would love it, but we're just not down. But we're trying to build coalitions with all these candidates and basically have them go to Washington with our agenda. We want to talk to them now. You know, even Ed Tarver. Ed Tarver, to me, is probably, he's one of the more qualified candidate. He was appointed by Barack Obama, and Barack Obama didn't even endorse him. So how are we going to fight that? How are we going to make some things shake with that? Please tell me. So the truth is, I just think a lot of people don't know the backdrop of what we're dealing with, and they're speaking from emotion. And you got to get out of that.
Were you? Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, and we'll deal with that when I said we're gonna deal with it after the election too. But let me ask you this: were you contacted before this firestorm, or did anything happen where you reached out to and said we think y'all should be doing more? Did something happen behind closed doors? Because I didn't even ask y'all this when I was trying to put out fire. Did something happen behind closed doors, or was there some kind of blow up, or what?
Well, there were some things that happened that I wasn't necessarily involved with, but from my understanding, there was basically some conversation to try to, explain our point of view, and it just went awry. It just went totally left. Like in the beginning, the conversation was like cool. They understood, we understood. It was kind of an understanding, from my understanding, that we're kind of, there's a difference in ideology, right? Gotcha. You all think that we should be putting these candidates out even if they lose, you know what I'm saying? But then we're like, hey man, we're not trying to get beat up, we trying to win. But what you just said was that you did support. So you said we supported her out of principle at first. So I guess there was, I'm not gonna say all of my piece right now because I don't want to. I said I'm gonna hold it and I'm gonna hold it. But what you have told me is that I'm talking about me.
Yeah, you said you did support. Yeah, you said you did support. You said we did support early on out of principle. So I was disappointed at some people, including Dr. Darity, who came out and was just kind of retweeting things and saying we got to do this and we have to do that. I think especially when and I'm not, I understand people are important to this movement, and he has his lane and we all have our lanes, but it kind of felt like piling on. And that was my problem. It's just like, you can go back to Duke. And these people, this division will live on after you do that. And so you have to be responsible in terms of like, I didn't, while people like him were kind of lighting fires, and I said that in a tweet, and I didn't say it disrespectfully. This division will live on, and you should not kind of add to the division that we're already seeing because it's already problematic. But I'll let you have the last word, fam.
Oh, and I agree, but the truth was that, look, everybody, after it was understood that there was a difference in ideology, you do what you gonna do, and I would like to see your outcome. I would love to see how these candidates that you're going to put out, how they're going to really be successful. Like, if your strategy is just to keep running, and then with no intentions on winning, I'm like, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. But for us, we're like, look, we're trying to use what we want, what we already have. We're going to give these people our agenda. We're going to tell them what we want, and we're going to use them for the tool that they are. The same way they use us, we're going to use them. Same thing. But, I just want to say that it bothered me that anybody felt like we supposed to tell us what we were supposed to do. Without reaching out to us specifically. Not just Be the Power. I'm talking about just any other chapters or anybody on Twitter who's even had any interaction with us. Like, just ask the question, man, what's going on? And I had already been seeing tweets like weeks ago, like months ago of, like, dang, ADOS Atlanta's not supporting her. I'm like, is she telling people that? No, don't do that, because we still, and she don't want to ask the tough questions. So here's the thing. That's like a parent, right? Okay. If your parent is paying your bills, you asking your mama and your dad for money. But when they ask you, hey, what are you doing with your money? Then you get mad and huffing and puffing. Man, you can't do that. Answer the questions and move on from that. And if they're not supportive, then that's, you have to move on. Because the truth is, you should not base your campaign on an advocacy group. That's a joke in itself, to me, and I'm gonna leave it at that, boo.
All right, fam. I appreciate you. I think I might have went out. If y'all can see me, say what's up. But I think something might have gone out because I'm trying to bring another call in. Let me see. Let me see. 678. What's going on?
Yvette, what's going on?
What's going on, fam?
Hey, listen, I'm a big fan of yours now. I'm new to ADOS. I'm new to you and Tone and the whole thing.
Okay.
And my wife got me into it because I had to find out what is taking up so much of her attention. Why is she beefing with people online? So I ain't going to tell you who my wife is yet, but you're going to be shocked when I tell you. So you were talking about representing ADOS the right way. And, you know, I was on Facebook the other day, and a dude had the nerve to say, ADOS is MAGA and blackface.
Is who?
He said ADOS is the equivalent to MAGA and blackface. And I lost it. So I ain't represent ADOS the right way, but I blitzed on him. So I'm a Philly cat, so I'm wired a little bit different than that.
I understand, fam. He said I'm wired a little bit different.
Yeah. You know, I'm a little rough around the edges, and I'm learning from my wife. I'm going to tell you who she is now, Princess Six.
Okay.
You know, so she's trying to teach me.
Fam.
Yes. Yeah, no doubt. She's trying to teach me the etiquette and, you know, the ins and outs. But on a real serious note, I do love what y'all doing. Like I said, I was skeptical at first. I was one of these Barack Obama lovers, you know, before we got married, and she walked me to the light. You know what I'm saying? So, but I mean, I'm here, and I'm down with y'all. And again, I love what you're doing. I love what you're Tone doing, and you know what I'm saying? ADOS Atlanta, like the last caller did. I know who that was. I mean, they doing the work because it take up all my wife time. Like we don't never.
Yeah, we know she be on Sunday. On Sunday she be doing NAACP stuff. Then on Monday we finna do a Black Wealth Report. Then on Tuesday, yes, I know how hard Princess work. Well, that's what we know in the show is. But I know exactly. You be like, oh my God, how you do that? I got this new thing. So yeah, absolutely. And shout out to her. She be killing it. Yes.
Exactly. And shout out to me because I'm sacrificing too.
Yeah, shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. You sacrificing your wife in the political game.
The call. This is an ADOS house right here. It's so good to be finally united at ADOS. But you be getting me in a lot of trouble with all this work I be doing.
I told you got to pull back sometime and breathe.
I can't. It's so much to be done. Alright, Yvette, we talk to you later.
Alright, I appreciate y'all. Thank you. See, we gotta have a whole family do the thing. That's what I'm talking about. The whole family is involved. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, fam, listen. We are far into it right now, and so we're gonna have to end the show because that's kind of just where we are. So I appreciate everybody for calling in and all that good stuff. I appreciate everybody. Please, don't forget, I think we may move the book club, but just so y'all remember, this is the book. We're going to move it. We're not going to do it on Thanksgiving after y'all done had all that turkey. I'm happy for y'all updating me and letting me know that you just too much turkey. So the half has never been told. That is the next book club book. Keep in mind that is the next book club book. If you didn't get through in the calls, we're gonna try to keep it going this week if I can keep figuring out the tech. So fam, please hit that like button. Please share. Please also hit the subscribe button if you have not hit it. I would appreciate it. Please hit that bell to get notifications. If you have not done that, please do that. I would appreciate that as well. And I will see everybody next time. Be easy breezy.
Brody on the line, I'm tapping in. God out here pulling the strings for me. A girl on the line, she feeling me.